welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I give you a story titled, My Wife, a 27-year-old female, cheated on me and broke the news on our vacation. And a shout out to Vegas Mike for sending this story. And guys, this story is about a guy, like it says, who's getting a divorce to a truly awful human being. I mean, his wife is terrible. But let me tell you guys, our guy will have the last laugh in the end, and I'll tell you why in a moment. This guy's been married for a few years. He's been doing working abroad. So while he's abroad, trying to further his career and take care of his family, she's been in school as well as working full-time. And guess what? She can't stay true and blue. Anyhow, they go on vacation, meet up together, and she spills the beans that she's cheating on vacation in Europe. Real nice. But then wait till you see the justification she does for this. Blames it all on him. And he thinks they're making up and everything like that, and then it gets worse. And I've been going to go over here, guys, just to show you how heartless some gals can be. And you really got to be careful who you get involved with little old Mary. And, of course, the long-distance thing, what can happen there? I mean, there's no joke about, I say don't get married in the military because you get deployed and you don't see your wife for 6 months, and look what she does, you know? And amongst many other things. But like I said, this guy's going to have the last laugh because the guy that she's leaving him for, having the affair, let's just say he's not exactly a nice guy. He's a Chad, and they don't stick around too long. And they're in an at-fault state. But anyway, guys, this guy's going through a hard time. I feel bad for him. I want to share a story. And, we can all learn from this here. So he says here, I'm 3.5 weeks past finding out my wife cheated on me. I'm 28, and I was working abroad for 7 months, while my wife, a 27-year-old female, stayed back at our apartment. She works full-time and goes to graduate school at night. I got 3 weeks off and planned a European vacation for the both of us. My wife would meet me during her spring break, and then I would go back to work, and she would return home. Okay, what could go wrong? On the first day, when I picked her up at the airport with a rose in my hand, she seemed a little distant, and I attribute that to jet lag. Rose. I would give her a dead rose. Throughout the day, things seemed pretty normal. At lunch, she ordered fish. She's a strict vegetarian, and it really threw me off, but I figured she wanted to enjoy the coastal cuisine. Later in the day, I made a comment about having kids one day, and she said something to the effect of, we have some problems to sort out before we have kids. He's like, what? I've been looking forward to seeing you all this time, and what? I was pretty shocked by this statement because we had been talking about having kids as soon as I got back from my 1-year work assignment abroad. We've been having these discussions within the last several weeks. I kind of attributed the comment to jet lag, and we went to the hotel to take a nap. No, it ain't jet lag, man. Well, after the nap, I brought up the comment about the kids. This led to a long discussion about how she finds some of my behaviors emotionally abusive. Here we go. And we know what's coming. This is to justify her actions. Because, hey, women have accountability. And wait till you guys hear about the awful things that he does, which she labels as being emotionally abusive. Because there's of course, going to be a list. This is a conversation we have had before and even enrolled in a DIY Gottman therapy. In the past, I've reacted negatively to the term emotional abuse, because even by her own admission, my behaviors are not intended to cause any harm. It is more of a communication style issue. She went into the details of what she considers emotionally abusive, which are the following. Now listen to this, guys. Now as I read this, I want you to think, does this sound like something in any logical mind of common sense to be a bad thing, negative, abusive? Number 1. Excessive concern for her in social situations where I'm not at. One time she got blackout drunk at a coworker's party, and I have been worried about her since then, but I wouldn't be overbearing. Okay, so if your wife is going out at parties getting blackout drunk, you have a reason to be concerned about that, so obviously he's probably like, please be careful, da-da-da. Well, that's emotional abuse. Number 2, talking down and being short with her. Aha. Okay, that could be stressed out in a whole bunch of different ways. Maybe because she's behaving like a child. Maybe because she's being disrespectful, not taking care of herself, putting herself in situations that she can get in harm's way, whatever. 3, judging her. He says, I really don't. She just thinks I do. Okay, again, judging. hey, honey, that's a little bit of a short skirt you're wearing out, given the fact that you're a married woman, or you're out there partying with a bunch of 22-year-olds, but you're 27, a married woman. You should be behaving like a single woman. Amongst many other things, judging. Number 4, this is my favorite. Concerns about how she spends her money. He says she has concealed thousands of dollars in purchases from me, and our finances are completely combined. Smack! That's a terrible idea. Yeah, guess what? In a marriage, you're going to have agreements with regards to money. You got to be on a plan. Clearly, this guy is the planner. He's the one that's smart about it. And obviously, as he said, she's concealed thousands of dollars in purchases, probably for bullshit. Out at the bars, out at the clubs, out with girlfriends, shoes, handbags, purse, electronics, just a bunch of shit to make her feel better. Meanwhile, he's abroad, probably what he doesn't want to do to help build his career to bring home money and build wealth. That all these things in her eyes is being emotionally abusive. That is nonsense. And is going to be used to justify what we're going to hear. No accountability. I'm in therapy now and talking to friends about the emotional abuse accusations, and it seems to be more of a distraction, but I really bought it in the hook, line, and sinker at this point. Well, I listened to all of what she had to say, and I validated her feelings because I could see she was upset, and I said, even if I didn't intend to hurt you, I never wanted you to feel that way. Yeah, she was probably crying. I said I would come home and cancel the trip to work on the marriage and evaluate if I should cancel the rest of my assignment overseas. So, yeah, don't get me wrong, 7 months apart, that's got to be hard, especially if they're married. But still, if both parties really love each other, they're going to make it work. At this point, she began breaking down, and then the words that are still haunting me came out of her mouth. I cheated on you. Oh, thanks for telling me that on day 1 of our vacation here where we're stuck here. The hotels are booked, and the excursions are booked, and the flights are booked, and now the whole week in Europe, and we're going to be miserable. Thanks, honey. I literally couldn't believe it. I've been with her for 8 years. I trusted her with my life, and this is completely out of character. Never trust him with your life. I pressed for details, and she said she got drunk at a graduate school happy hour and met a guy named John, and went to his apartment and had you-know-what with him. Remember that part where she's having a problem with his emotional abuse because he criticized her about what she does because she got blackout drunk? Well, right here, she got drunk, as she claims, and went and slept with some guy. Just backing up why he has reason to have issue with her excessive drinking and stuff like that. But she cheated on him. Shocker. And now we know why. She gave me a lot of I don't knows and couldn't give me a date. She assured me multiple times it was one time. Okay, you heard this here. She's assuring it was only one time. Okay. She doesn't know the guy and never talked to him again, and I believed her. Smack! I should have smacked him before. I'm smacking some sense into you, dude. Oh, hell no. Was this her first rodeo and didn't know the guy and all that? I threw up. Well, I can imagine. I hope you barfed on her. Blah, all over her. And I cried, and I had what I felt like a panic attack. My life was completely flipped upside down. I eventually calmed down my wife, and I talked, and I forgave her, and expressed a desire to move forward. Smack! There's no moving forward after that. Look how she's treating you, blaming everything on you, and then did that. And no way can you believe this is her first rodeo, and you're going to see, sir. We decided we'd finish the week in Europe, and I would return to the States with her and cancel my work assignment to work on our marriage. The week in Europe was great. How was it great? Are you kidding me? We had so many deep conversations about life and our future and our past. We had amazing sex like 3 times every day. And he says Google calls this hysterical bonding. And we took selfies, kissing. We talked about having kids. And we made future plans. How does it go from what she was saying and the whole thing to all of a sudden all this? I think what's going on here is both parties are like, well, we're stuck here together. We're going to pretend everything's okay until we get home. So she's built up in his mind that everything's better. We're moving past this. And he's going to work on the marriage. Once we got back home, it's like a switch flipped. You mean she dropped the act? We had marriage counseling scheduled for 2 days after I got back. The day before the counseling, my wife broke down to me and told me she was 100% done with the relationship and she was too far gone. He's like, what happened to all the talking about kids and the selfies and all that crap we were doing in Europe? I reassured her that it's okay to have these feelings and let's go to the counselor. At the counselor, they told my wife it appears she's in flight mode and told her to give it 2 weeks before deciding if she wants to leave. I don't know about you guys, but if I was in the situation, not that I would be, I'd be like, no, you're going to decide right now. We're done this shit. Well, if she had told me what she told me on the trip, I would have been like, we're out. You're out. We're done. Find your way back to the USA. She agreed, and we also agreed to give each other space while we both went to individual therapy. Well, that lasted for a whopping 24 hours. The next day, she was even more distant with me, and she was guarding her phone very strangely and texting constantly. Gee, I wonder who she's talking to. The guy she only hooked up with one time? I assumed she was planning her exit from the apartment with family. I found a journal entry which she left out in the open with plans to get a lawyer and get an apartment. It's no accident you saw that. At that point, I realized I was done. I called my parents, and they were insistent there must be more to the story, like another guy in the picture. Listen to your parents, they're right. I was adamant that that was not the case. There was no way my wife could lie to me like that, especially during such emotional, deep conversations. Oh, man, come on. Smack some sense into you. No. I know you don't want to believe that. I know you've been with her for 8 years, a massive chunk of your life, and you love what you thought she was. This isn't her. She is a rotten person and is become heartless. If that's not who she was before. And who knows how long cheating's been going on, my man. Well, she leaves the apartment that night. On the way out, she cries and tells me she, wait for it, never wanted to hurt me. Please, she's just trying to calm you down. Just like she did in Europe. I'm confused and sad. She goes to a female coworker's house out of town for the weekend. She breaks the news to our mutual friends who are all just as confused as me. Dude, you need to control the narrative pronto because she is going to drag your name through the mud. By Saturday, I'm starting to process the situation, but I remember my parents' concern about another guy in the picture. Out of due diligence, I checked the phone records. Over 2,000 messages in less than a week. And 65-minute phone call with a male coworker. Holy shit. Think about 2,000 messages in less than a week. That's, okay, let's just say 6 days. That's like 330-some messages a day. And then you divide it by the amount of, say, 16 hours that she's awake. That's like 200 messages a fucking hour. Of like 16 hours and she's sleeping for 8. What the hell is she talking to this guy about? And how the guy didn't know this? All at night, I started to panic. I eventually am able to see her location history. She goes to his apartment complex multiple times overnight, a week before the vacation. I find social media messages between them. She's messaging about how much she enjoyed fucking him while she was sitting next to me on the couch, the day that she was guarding her phone. She is awful. Now, this guy, a coworker, obviously, clearly this guy, and by the way, we're going to go into more details in the story because he responds to lots of comments. This guy has a history of this. This guy's a Chad. All the girls like him. Do you think this guy is going to last? Do you think they're going to last? Nope. Well, my heart drops. I feel sick. I feel like such an idiot for being manipulated by her. I feel like I don't even know who this person is. I confront her, and all she can manage is, I didn't want to hurt you. Amazing how they say that, and yet the hurting continues. She still doesn't give me an answer as to how this happened. You're not going to get it. She told no one, not her friends or her parents, and she made it seem completely normal to me while she was fucking this other guy. In other words, the Oscar goes to his wife here. She's a rotten person. She then signs a lease in his apartment building a city over and moves out a week after I find out. Moving her stuff out, she's cold and is nothing like the person I know. Because the person you know is not her, my man, I'm telling you. I'm struggling right now with the lack of closure. When did she check out of the marriage? Were there other affairs? Why not just leave if you're unhappy? These are very good questions. I ask them all the time. If you're unhappy, fine. Either talk about it, work it out if you can, or end it. Don't do this. I'm in therapy right now on medication and trying to work on myself, but it is hard and I have no appetite, can't sleep, and have constant thoughts about the affair of my wife. And the sad thing is, all I want is the person I love, my wife, back. The loneliness is hitting me hard right now. Holy, I told you guys she's an awful human being. My God, heartless. But this is common. They decide for whatever reasons they're done, and of course blame it all on the guy, and then they just go just completely just so cold and miserable and mean and heartless. Yeah. But here's the thing. She's picking up and moving. Now, this guy, I'm going to go into, he responds to a lot of questions. I'm going to give you more info in a moment. This guy sounds like a Chad, who the girls like, been married before. I guarantee you this guy is going to dump her the second it gets boring. And she's moving into his apartment complex. She's chasing after this guy like he's the king. And what do these guys do? And they're in it, and you're going to find out momentarily, they're in an at-fault divorce state. And she was cheating, and he's got proof of this. She's toast, you know? And I mentioned this guy was a coworker. That's back to the doing this going on in the job. There's a lot of things here, but for him, all I'm going to say is this, and any guy in this situation, I'm sorry it's happening, and you're going through hell, but it will get better. And just understand, probably the hardest thing is, how could she do this to me? And feel like you lost the girl you love. Clearly, she's not who you thought she was, and so many guys are fooled. This guy, as well as all guys, aren't alone in that situation. All you do is surround yourself with people that care, your family, your friends, and listen to a good lawyer, and get one, and take it day by day. Exercise, get out there, focus on your purpose. And then this guy can go back to being a broad after he settles everything back home and kick some butt in the world. And I guarantee you, things are going to work out for her, and she'll be coming crying back. But don't take her back, for God's sake. She's an awful person. Now I'm going to read a bunch of his responses to different things so you can hear more about the situation. In no particular order, because this is all over the place, the guy says, I've told the friends and family the full truth. I'm reaching out to HR or the guy. Reaching out to HR or the guy is best done once we get a settlement agreement signed. In other words, this was a coworker, and that could obviously be a problem for her job, getting her fired potentially. But he shouldn't do that until the settlement is done. Otherwise, if she's out of work, he's going to get hit hard for alimony, more than already. But then again, if it's an at-fault state, well, we'll see. He says, thanks for sharing your perspective. This is some guy helping him. I definitely do not want to fall into a self-destructive path. I'm trying everything to do right now. I go to therapy, journaling, talking to friends and family, and exercising. It says the emotions have me confused and consumed with missing the person that I thought she was. And I can see who she truly is now, and I haven't gone through the grieving process very, very hard. So this is good. He's getting out there. He's exercising. He's friends and family. He's recognizing this is not the girl I fell for. You know, that's good. He says, I don't know why she did that week in Europe and got me to come home. When I confronted her about that when she was packing her stuff, she said it was my choice to come home. Zero recognition of her actions that led me to believe she wanted to work on the marriage. Of course, there's no recognition. Another thing, he says, after talking through the emotional abuse in therapy, it seems like it was her insecurities coming through. Almost like she didn't trust herself drinking with other guys and coworkers and was having thoughts, and she projected that back onto me. That is leaving me buzzing, wondering if this was really the first time. Dude, the odds are that there's been cheating going on. I'm sorry to say. She hung out with a former male coworker multiple times after he left the company alone, and it seemed odd to me that she just reassured me it was just a friend's thing. This is why your girlfriend and wife should never hang out with other guys, have guy friends. Period. Another one. The guy says, thanks for the advice. I'm torn on notifying her HR. I really wanted to when I first found out, as well as her professional certification committee that has an ethics requirement, but is that just seeking revenge? I'm sure all her coworkers know it's just a small office, and only 2 of her coworkers moved her out. I'm sure she's telling them she's leaving me because I am emotionally abusive, but it's not hard to connect the dots. Of course, she's making you out to be the bad guy. They probably believe it. You know, oh, you had to get away from him. He's so terrible. Yeah, and chasing after a scumbag. Another one, you are correct that the details at this point don't matter. I'm just love asking the big questions still, and I'm waking up in the middle of the night asking. What I saw on the social media messages is still haunting me. I don't need any more of that. I just still am holding on to maybe the entire 8 years wasn't a lie. I luckily have a good support structure. My friends have been amazing and supportive, and I'm trying to move forward, but emotionally I'm stuck. It's going to take a while, man. 8 years is no small amount of time, especially when you're 28. I mean, that's a big fraction of your life. He says, the messages I saw, they talked about how great it would be if they could save money and live together. My wife made a comment about that being a little too soon. So it's interesting dynamic. All their messages are quite sad as my wife is putting herself down and making it seem like she is not worthy of his attention. What does that tell me, guys? If she's acting like she's not worthy of him, that this guy in her eyes is a big catch. So, and obviously, you know, he knows he's cheating with a married woman. He's obviously a bad boy, a Chad, a Tyrone, whatever. And I guarantee this guy is going to dump her the second it gets boring. It Says here, thanks for the advice. It'll be interesting if the relationship blows up during the separation before the divorce is finalized. I don't want to deal with the drama of her coming back as much as I miss her or what she was. What we had, I know that is dead. It's good he knows it's dead. And yeah, right here. He doesn't think it's going to last. He says here, this is about the guy. He is divorced and is known to pursue hookup type of relationships. The fact that my wife knew about this about him and shared it with me is a red flag. Her coworkers all bond over excessive drinking and happy hours, so I wrote it off as just discussions that come up during those kinds of things. So that guy's a player, and she's getting played. The last one, he says, after she left and was acting erratically, I moved money out of our joint accounts to safekeeping on the advice of my attorney. Thank God. That was one of the first things I was thinking. I forgot to mention that she would do, go after the money. We are now in the settlement negotiations. I'm in an at-fault state for adultery, so I can always file. Ha! So I see this going down like this. The divorce process will probably be ugly, but she'll probably be so eager to get with this guy, maybe he'll have his fun. And because she was cheating on him in an at-fault state, that's going to make things a lot better for him. And I'm guaranteed this guy's going to kick her to the curb probably pretty quickly. I just hope this guy's smart enough to take her back. And I don't think he will. So there you go, guys. Multiple fronts here. Lots to learn from this story, but holy crap, this is heartless. But a lot of guys have been through situations like this. So, if you see any updates, guys, definitely let me know, because I feel for this guy. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.